Hello. Today we are going to continue with comparisons, but what we have done so far is talk about how things are different. Like, my house is bigger than your house. My couch is more comfortable than your couch. Today we're going to compare, but we're going to show how they are the same, all right? Not different. So when we want to say that two things are the same, we use a construction called as. So, for example, we would say, and I'm going to make all of this a little bit bigger so that it's easy for you to see. My house, and instead of saying bigger than, we would say is as big as yours. All right? So here is it's as big as yours. So you have the same kind of endings that we practiced earlier. Get rid of these lines. Okay, my house is as big as yours. So that means they are the same size, right? If I say my house isn't as big as, and you know what, I don't have to space those apart, because then the computer goes nuts. Okay, this means they are different, right? This is kind of the same thing as saying my house is smaller than yours, or your house is bigger than mine. So all three of these, I'm going to put a shadow around them so that you know these three mean the same thing, right? My house isn't as big as yours. Let's see if I can highlight that. Yep. My house isn't as big as yours is the same thing as saying my house is smaller than yours, or your house is bigger than mine. Okay, so we can also, just like we did with the other comparison, let's say we have my house, my old house was huge, right? Really, really big. But then you're comparing it to your new house. You could say my new house isn't as big or as large, whatever you want to say. We wouldn't normally say isn't as huge. We would either use big or large. So it's possible, like here we had as. It's possible, just like when we did the comparison, not to continue it, just put a period. My new house isn't as big because it's very clear what you are comparing, right? It's very clear to your listener or your reader. Okay, then, so these are adjectives. Right, so what we were just doing was adjectives. And now we're going to do adverbs. So remember, we use adverbs with action verbs. So let's say he runs as quickly as I do. Okay, same endings are possible. And you have as with an adverb between it. He runs as quickly as I do. So this means that you are the same. You're not different. If I want to say you're different and use the same structure, I'd have to make it negative. He doesn't run as quickly as I do. All right, so you've got your negative. He doesn't run as quickly as I do. Okay? And again, you don't have to finish the sentence. You don't have to finish the comparative structure if it's clear what you're comparing. He runs, he doesn't run as quickly. Period. If it's very clear to your reader who you are comparing. And that's in the negative that we can do that. Not in the affirmative. I would never say he runs as quickly, right? If I wanted to do that, I would say he runs just as fast. That's how I would say it. So a little bit differently. But in the negative, you don't have to finish the comparative form. All right, so you can pause the video and go to page 215 in your book and do exercise 4 and give you the answers to that. So go ahead and pause the video and do numbers 2 and 3, and when you come back, take a look at what the answers are. Mark plays the guitar as well as Nancy does. That's the answer to number 2. The answer to number 3, online reviews are as useful as asking friends about products. Okay, so you can finish that exercise for homework. And also you can do exercise 5. If you look at exercise 5 on page 215 and do, let's see, number 1 they did for you, desktop computers are as popular as laptops. Number 2, go ahead and do that one. You can pause the video right now and come back for the answer. Okay, number 2, microwave ovens work as well as regular ovens. All right, work as well as, that is your answer. All right, you can finish that one for homework. All right, we're doing a lot of grammar today, everybody. So if you want to go ahead and finish all of those for homework, do page 215, exercise 4 and 5, and then come back and continue the video. It's your choice how you do all the homework. But we are going to move on to page 216 in your book, and this is now we're doing less and not as. Okay, and this is used with adjectives and adverbs of 2 or more syllables. So a syllable like useful, pretty, right? Those are syllables. So if we have a positive sentence, let me try to lay this out for you. Right? If we have a positive sentence, we say he is more helpful than I am, right? So with positive sentences, this is what we learned earlier. He is more helpful than I am. You can also just say he is more helpful, right? And notice helpful is helpful. It's 2 syllables, right? Because we use more with two-syllable words. Now, if we want to use the negative, how do we do that? And remember, I'm going to highlight this here so you can see it. 2 or more syllables. So if we want to say the same thing, well, the opposite of this, in the negative, we would say he is less helpful than I am, right? So less is the opposite of more. So it's the same grammar structure. It's just that we're using less instead of more. And he is less helpful. That's also possible if it's very clear what you are comparing. And you do not have to finish the comparison. And then again, I talked earlier here about not as, right? Not as. But I'll give you a little better breakdown of that. All right, so again, if I do positive, I would say he is as helpful as I am. So this means we're the same, right? He is as helpful as I am. And if I do it in the negative, he isn't as helpful as I am, then we are different here, right? Let me see if I can get that. I want to get it up on the same line. Can I? Nope. Move this over. There. Nope, not going to work. So I'll just put that so you can see it. So here they are the same. He is as helpful as I am. But if it's in the negative, he isn't as helpful as I am, then they are different. So this would be like saying, I am more helpful, right? I am more helpful than he is. That's what. I am more helpful than he is basically what that's saying. It's just a different way to say it. Okay, good. So just remember that we cannot use this. We cannot use that with 1-syllable words. Okay? You cannot say, let's see, I'm going to get all the way over, there we go. You cannot say, he is less kind than I am. Right? You cannot say that. It is not possible. It's wrong. It has to be 2 or more syllables. Okay, so now go to page 216 in your book and exercise 6. They did the first one for you. So they want you to use less, less plus an adjective or adverb. And let's see, I didn't do adverbs, did I? Let me do an adverb for you here. It's the same thing. So these are adjectives. Go down here. Right? These are adjectives. And let me just do some adverbs for you. So we'll do, of course, adverbs with more. We would say, like, he works more quickly than I do, right? And if I made it negative, I'd say he works less quickly than I do, right? So both of these are showing difference. I could also shorten it. He works more quickly. That's perfectly okay. He works less quickly. Both of those are good. If I do not as with adverbs, and up here, just to be clear, these are adjectives. I would say he doesn't, now I'm doing, he doesn't work as quickly as I do. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, this one should be positive, right? This is in the positive column. So we would say he works as quickly as I do. And in the negative, he doesn't work as quickly as I do. Okay, very good. All right, so nothing much different here, right? Let me move this back up by the adjectives. Paste. And I'm going to highlight it. Okay. Let's see if I can get that all on one line. I'm just going to move this over a little bit. Nope. Not going on one line. There we go. Okay, so go to page 216, and this is practicing both adjectives and adverbs. Actually, page 216, maybe this is just adjectives. Complete the conversations with less or not as. Do not use not unless it is included in the parentheses. So, stylish, expensive, fancy. It looks like these are all adjectives, everybody. So, you're just doing adjectives here. So, the first one, the clothes in this store, aren't, because they have not be. So, you have the be verb, you need the be verb, remember, is am, is, and are. So they aren't as nice as they used to be. Look at this coat, number 2. So go ahead and do number 2. You can pause the video. do 2 and 3 and come back for the answers. Okay, the answer to number 2 is it's much, sorry, I'm automatically doing more. It's much less fashionable than the coat I bought here last year. Okay, much less fashionable. Spelled it wrong. And you would have to have than, right? Much less fashionable than the coat I bought here last year. Okay, and number 3, well, that's true. It isn't as stylish as, it isn't as stylish, but it's also, okay, so you're going to finish for homework. So notice I didn't say as stylish as, because if I said as stylish as, it would have to be, you would have to have something that you're comparing it to. So you just say it isn't as stylish, but it's also, okay. So go ahead and you will finish that exercise for homework. Now go down to exercise 7. Number 1 is done for you. And, I don't know if there are any, let's see, exciting, convenient, positive. These look like adjectives as well. Number 1, my watch is less attractive than yours. So they want you to make it negative. They want you to use not as. So they had less attractive, right? They want you to change less attractive to not as. So you would say, my watch isn't as attractive as yours. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and do number 2 and 3, and then come back for the answers. Okay, exercise 7, number 2. So they have Sally's shoes aren't as fancy as Jill's. So here they're using as, like not as. They want you to change it to less. So you will say, Sally's shoes are, so your verb will be positive, less, because less is negative. So you do not need your verb to be positive, are less fancy than Jill's. 3. Adam exercises less frequently. Okay, here's an adverb, frequently. So Adam exercises less frequently than he used to. They want you to change less frequently to not as. So you would say, Adam exercises, we have to make the verb negative. Doesn't exercise as frequently as he used to. Okay, so you can finish that for homework. Be very careful. Remember that when you are using less, your verb is going to be positive, because less has a negative meaning. But here, when we have as, this is not negative, so you have to make the verb negative. Okay, you have to make the verb negative with as if you're saying something negative. All right, and then, okay, and I should have said this is on page 217. If we continue on page 217, we have exercise 8, and it says complete the conversation with less or not as, and make the verbs negative only when not is given. Okay, so Tina says, your new camera isn't as big as your old one, because they have not be. So it isn't as big as your old one. So number 2, I know. Let's see, how many are there? There's not that many. So go ahead and do number 2 and 3. You can pause the video, do number 2 and 3, and then come back for the answers. All right, so we have exercise 8, number 2. Dawn says, I know. So they want you to be negative, not be. So you're going to say, it isn't as heavy as my old X2000. And it was, okay, so this is number 3. So we want to make this negative. So we're going to say less expensive too. Okay. So you can finish that exercise for homework, and I will post the answers. And I will give you some My ELT work as well. And we're going to go ahead, everybody, and do the superlative because we only have 2 weeks left of class, so we have to get through this grammar point because we also have the future tense that we have to cover quickly before the end of the semester. So we have the superlative. What is the superlative? So far, we have been comparing 2 things, right? I don't like that color. I'm just going to underline it. We've been comparing 2 things, right? Like my old phone versus my new phone, my house versus your house. And we've been doing comparisons, sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're different. Mine is better than yours is worse than mine. But we've only been comparing 2 things. But what happens if we know more than one person? Or, we're comparing more than one thing or more than 2 people. All right, let me say that again. We're comparing more than 2 things or more than 2 people. What do we do? All right, so let's say, okay, so here is an example. We're not comparing 2 people, we're comparing 4. Jack, Bill, Larry, and Don. All right, so you could, I have some, over here I have height. What are adjectives that we use with height? Tall, short. Weight, heavy, skinny. Notice these end in Y. Age, old, young. IQ means your intelligence. So the adjective is intelligent. We could talk about income. Rich, wealthy, poor. We could talk about the number of friends that they have. Are they popular? Do people like them? Are they friendly? So I could just use the comparison. So I could say, let's see, all right, looks like Jack is 6 feet tall. So I could say Bill, not Jack. Bill is taller than Jack, Larry, and Don. That's possible. So you can use the comparative form. To compare 4 people, right? But let's use the superlative. So what is the superlative? Okay, the superlative is you have your subject, right? And then you have your verb, and then you have the, and then you have, your adjective or adverb, and well, we'll do adjective first. est. All right? So, this is the basic structure of the superlative. So, if I did, looked at the height, I would say Bill, oops, right? And then we have to have our verb. So it'd be Bill is, okay? Then we need the, and we have our adjective, and we have to add est. Bill is the tallest. All right? Very often with the superlative, we add little prepositional phrases like of and in, of the 4 men, right? So very often with the superlative, this little prepositional phrases like this are used. Bill is the tallest of the 4 men. Now, we have the same rule if it ends in Y. We have to change the Y to I and add est, right? So let's see, 190. Oh, that's Bill, all right? So let's use the word heavy. Bill is the heavy. Okay, so there's heavy. You have to change the Y to I and add est. Bill is the heaviest. All right, same rule. Let's go down here to intelligence. Let's see, it looks like Jack's IQ is higher. Oh, no. Goodness, Don. Don has an IQ of 149. That's a little mistake there, right? That's the highest IQ. So, looks like Don. Now, we have the same rule as we did with the comparative. Just like we changed the Y to I, this is also intelligent. That's 4 syllables. So, it's longer, right? It's more than 2 syllables. So we would say Don is the most intelligent. Okay, so this is for 1 syllable adjectives and adjectives ending in Y. Okay, 1 syllable and adjectives ending in Y. Right, 1 syllable adjectives and adjectives ending in Y. So Alright, so these are the examples of a 1 syllable, the tallest. This is ending in Y, the heaviest. But if it's more than 1 syllable, so that's 2 or 3 or more, you have your subject plus your verb plus the, we always have the, plus most, and then just your adjective, so the adjective does not change its form. Okay, so this is a longer adjective, so we say Don is the most intelligent. All right. Here's another longer one, popular. That's 3 syllables. So, who is the most popular? It looks like Bill, right? He has 10 friends. So, we could say Bill is the most popular. Okay? Bill is the most popular. And again, all right, if I did friendly, that ends in a Y. So that would be up here with the first one. We would say Bill is the friendly, all right? And then you have to change the Y to I and add EST. And there are some adjectives where we can use either one. We can say most friendly or friendliest. So this is one of them where we could say most friendly. Right? It is possible to do that. Bill is the most friendly. So you'll have to look in your book. It lists a couple of those where you can use either form with it.